So today we've got a lot of SBCs and they are incredible, or at least some of them are, but they are very expensive. So we're going to go through which ones you should do and which ones you probably should miss. If you need coins in FC25, lootbar.gg has you covered. They are the cheapest trading platform on the game. From the 28th of November to the 2nd of December, if you buy coins and use the code JT11 at checkout, there is a chance that you could get a 10% coupon during this time to use on your next order. With the fastest delivery system going, used by many FC25 creators such as Zorky, Manny Plus, and even pro owners. So if you need any coins, head over to lootbar.gg, make sure JT11's in the promo code, and hopefully you enjoy. So in terms of the icons then, we've now actually got some that, to be honest, are probably worth completing. Now there's probably a few people out there that have actually completed a few of these icons, and I think they're not bad icons, they're just not very inventive with the first three. We got Veron in, and to be honest, is the very first icon. They could have definitely gone worse, but they could have gone a considerable amount better. The upgrade for him was solid. We've already mentioned him many times on these weeks. We've still got 5 weeks of him left, which I don't understand why they went with such shorter days with the next icons. I feel like having that 50-60 day cycle for the icons was much better, and I feel like the pattern that they had last year, either, there's two possible theories for this, either they're going to give us more and more of these icons and add in on this day icons, which is almost like a junior version or a flashback as such, could be more prevalent in this game, or they're just going completely off script, because last year we had a cycle where there was, say, anywhere between 10 to 15 icons, and then you'd have seven of them disappear, and then the next cycle would start, and then you'd have like the final three. Say you had like a Jarzinho, weren't quite a Hullet, but say like a Kaka, and then the next few would come in and they'd be low, and then you'd get the high end, and it would just keep revolving like that. It happened all year. This time round, we've got Veron 5 weeks, we have then Zanetti at 14 days left, Xabi Alonso at 22, Cruyff at 27, and Desailly at 30. So it's almost like they started to do that and thought, no, we're going to try something different in terms of timing. Now, when it comes to the first three, I'm going to go with the exact same as what I did last week. Personally, for me, I don't think they're worth doing. I really don't. I think they are solid players when they came out, and definitely could improve I'd say average to more higher price team, but they're not going to go in the really high budget teams here. When we've got centre mids, even evolutions that come out at least a solid level, when we're paying 360, 430 for these icons, you've got to get something back from them, in my opinion anyway. And if you're building past and presents, that kind of goes past everything that I'm saying, because if you're looking at a Man U past and present and Veron's your best option you can get, then by all means, you've got to get him done. But now we have some big icons. We have a 1 million coin Desailly and a 1.1 million coin Cruyff. Now, both of these cards are exceptionally good. We know Desailly has always been an incredible centre-back, and then eventually when they do change their position, if they go in shapeshifter or something like a winter wildcard, because they've kind of added that in to be a shapeshifter as well, he goes into that CDM and does really well as again. Now, we have got a big price budget on a lot of these, so these are not SBCs to complete in a day, in a weekend. If you're trying to do them for very minimal coins and trying to grind out as much as you can, they're going to take time. So naturally they will do. Desailly is probably the one I could see missing, just because we have got a solid amount of centre-backs already. Virgil is like, what, 150, I believe. We've got multiple other centre-backs at a very, very solid price. So I don't see the need in really having him, to be honest. When he's coming in at, what, probably like the 7th. What we got? So we got Desailly there. We got 1, 2, 3. Well, in fact, if you take the right back out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'd say, yeah, so he's 6th in the list of centre-backs. I know Thuram can play centre-back, but you're not going to. Same with, obviously, Matthias as well. Better in the centre-mid. So the 6th most expensive centre-back in the game. And yet, I'm just there like, well, if you go under him, you've got so many options that you could go with that are at least on that sort of level and then you're free to grind out one of the bigger SBCs instead, because we have got a few that we will get into. So I do think the value of him is solid enough. I don't think they really could have gone too much cheaper. His base card is still at 485. He has got the ability to go up as well, 1 overall and a roll plus, and then it would be 2 play styles and also a roll plus for 2 wins and then 6 goals. So it will be interesting to see how that does go, because that could potentially sway it a little bit, in my opinion. So I think in terms of value, I would say he's kind of there. I'd probably put him at anywhere between okay and decent value. I don't think they could have gone too much lower. Cruyff, in my opinion, if we're going for it, because I don't feel like you're going to be able to finish Cruyff, Desailly, Vini, Saka, POTM all in one go, because that is a lot of fodder, and it most definitely is going to be a big grind that I just don't think the game pulls in anymore. I think you've probably got enough for one card. I've been seeing a lot of Vini this weekend, and not necessarily as much Cruyff. Now, when it comes to Cruyff, I do think he's a good card. The problem you've got is, I think, again, like some of the upgrades, I'm waiting for an evolution for him. And that's purely because we know we've got a 93 of him. But he has got the 5-5. He's still got very decent stats in and around the kind of attacking zone. His body type's still Cruyff, so that's going to be fantastic enough. Stats-wise, like we said, it's not necessarily the biggest downgrade, but it is a considerable jump down. I feel like they could have probably gone 490, seeing as though he's not going to be upgraded. I think a 3 downgrade would have been enough. I think going 5 might have took him a bit too far and kind of preying off the name. It'd be like getting an R9 and kind of knowing that he's 87 rated. You're like, well, that's fantastic, but realistically, we want the highest Cruyff or the highest R9. Same with the likes of Hullet. I know the Winter Wildcard did really well. That was quite a good SBC. And naturally, as we went through the game, he did manage to go into an evolution, which I do think Cruyff, out of the two of them, between him and Vini, will be the first to go into an evolution, naturally from overall, but then just from stats alone. When we look at the pace side of stuff, Vini's obviously massively above him, and even then dribbling. It's a considerable amount of an upgrade that is going to get to Cruyff before it is Vini. That being said, I do think if you are looking at completing one of them, I do think he is a must complete in that sense. I'm not saying you have to complete every single one, but if you are considering one, he's definitely up the ranks. And then obviously we'll go straight into Vini as well. He's another fantastic card that I didn't really think we were going to get, because normally player of the months, they really try and get through the first few months before they give a level of card like this anywhere in that spotlight. Now, he has had many different informs and special cards anyway. He's managed to get himself an inform. He's got himself a Trailblazer. Did have a Ballon d'Or card, but that's obviously expired. And his gold card is still coming in at 730. So him being 1.4 is actually, I'd say, at a pretty decent value, to be honest. He's got a little bit of an upgrade in comparison to the gold. If you have got the gold untradeable, I don't think it's really worth the upgrade. I am much more of a fan of Quickstep, if I'm being honest with him. Obviously, as well, he's got himself the 4-5, which is as standard as ever. And I think in terms of roll plus, I want to say there weren't much difference. We've got inside forward on both left wing, left mid. We've got winger on both and advance forward. In this one, we've got the inside forward on the plus and advance forward plus. So we didn't have actually anything on the left mid. So I suppose that is at least a nice upgrade. Whether you'd consider that to be 750k worth of an upgrade is kind of down to you, really. But I do think, again, this card is 100% a must complete. He's one of the best, if not the best left wing you can get right now, other than kind of like a Ronaldinho-esque sort of type. And to be fair, I must admit, I'd put Rashford up there as well. That card is looking crazy as well. 5 million coins. He is looking to hopefully get an upgrade, but there is quite a few matches in there that I'm not feeling too confident with. We've got Arsenal next and then Man City, so it might be a few weeks that we are waiting unless we can pull an absolute blinder. We need two more goals. Arsenal need 1, so 2 more goals to get himself the upgrade to a 92, and then for the extra play styles and roll plus, he will need another win, just one of them. So that's always fantastic, but a great card. So Vini is absolutely up there. Then we obviously look at a few of the others. We obviously have got some of the older but goldies in the air there when it comes to SBCs, and some of them are now coming towards the end. We look at the likes of a Robbie Keane. He's got 3 days left. Poutier, to be honest, I don't think you're missing out much now. You're not going to complete her in 6 hours, or if you're watching this video, probably 1 or 2 hours. So that one's pretty much done. But to be fair, I don't think she was worth kind of really going for, especially if now we look at the SBCs. Having that amount of fodder, if you could have completed her to potentially do Vini and Cruyff, I think would have been the better option in my opinion. We still have a few of the others as well in the player of the months. We have a Chris Wood. We still have the Italian striker who's going to work really well for the objectives now as well. It's not necessarily a must because in terms of the friendlies, it's not really that big of a deal. Darwin Nunez is still there for 6 days. I'm still going to blow his trumpet. Get him done. At the very minimum, I need to take my words because I need to go and get him done. But the 6 days, 200k during these upgrades, he is an absolute must. Trust me, the evolution on him, when it eventually comes, is going to be crazy. So don't miss out on him just yet. They've given us plenty of time, and I feel like they've done that on purpose. But when it comes to the likes of Robbie Keane, again, decent value, I'd say, for him. I think when it comes to a lot of the player of the months, they are kind of just in that SBC storage now. You're kind of just finishing them when you've got a bit of coin spare. You're looking at 47k, 32,000, and the Ligue 1 player of the month is coming in at 29. There's not a great amount of value for them. Harry Kane coming in a little bit more expensive at 142. Again, I'd say he's pretty much worth it. When we look at Kane, he's most definitely had that big impact as somebody who can score from anywhere around that 18 yards and inwards. He has got a phenomenal shot. And also the fact that they gave him the finesse shot rather than a power shot has just made him that little bit better. If you can turn him on that sixpence and get him in front of goal, his shooting will definitely see him through. Beasley, another one that I do think is at least of a decent value. I suppose you are looking between a left back and a left mid, but I think with that quick step, he really does add a good amount of value to him. So I would put him in at least a decent value. I wouldn't quite go must complete with him, especially with the left wings, left mids that we have got out, but he most definitely is not one to kind of forget about, really. Which then leads us to kind of the last few that we've got. We've got obviously Aubameyang coming at 132. I think he's a cracking player. Him and Talisca, both incredible SBCs. If you are finishing one, I would suggest finishing both. Again, I kind of go more for decent value because I don't think they're absolutely needed. But if you are looking to build that Saudi team, then obviously they would be a must complete. They're kind of two very big giants in that midfield and also up front in that Saudi progression that we've got. So I would suggest if you are looking at the Saudi team, they are 100% must. If not, I would probably say decent value, looking at a super sub and maybe a future evolution later on down the line. And I suppose that's going to be the cop-out for a lot of players. But when it comes to Talisca and Aubameyang, we know body type, how they progress in the game is always going to be fantastic. We've got normal, common proof, and it's the same as having like a Cruyff. We know the body type, it doesn't change year to year unless they become the cover star and, for instance, someone like Mbappe and Haaland get their own body types. They're not going to happen with these two, but we know they are fantastic from previous years, so we know what they're about. We also have Lamar still in here. Again, another fantastic value card coming in at 50,000. As much as, again, he would be kind of like an SBC storage, I think he is more of a must complete than these. I think with Lamar as an evolution, that's going to be a very well-balanced card that we could progress with. Whereas, as much as these are decent cards that, again, could get nice evolutions, I think body type and naturally stats will provide a better kind of outlet to Lamar rather than like a Chris Wood, who could potentially get a bigger card and you could evolve him from there, which could be a better starting point rather than starting at the 85. But again, if you are building that team, it's not a bad thing as such. Which then, boy, we've got, I think he's an easy one. He is phenomenal. Very, very good card for the pricing. If you're building a Bundesliga team, then he's a must, but a great, great right-back SBC if you are looking for one. Which leads us to kind of the new cards, really. We have got the likes of Hendricks here as kind of the FC Pro Live. Again, I'm not really feeling him too much. I think the Playstyle Plus really needed to be added to him, so I would kind of go more of an SBC storage, as a Do Not Complete would be a card, really, that is of a certain value. If he's like a 250k card because he's live, then yeah, I wouldn't complete him at all. But because he's obviously in here still at a very reasonable price, I think you could give him benefit of the doubt there. Which then moves us into some of the brand new ones. In fact, we have got Francesco God, I can't pronounce his name, at 128, another lovely card in terms of a right mid, but he wouldn't be the must complete because, again, we've got so many to go through. Which now finally leads us to the new ones, the Thunderstrucks. Now, everybody bar from Cass can go up for the likes of, obviously, Arsenal. We know they won 5-2, I want to say, the weekend against West Ham. Was it West Ham? I think it was. But that means Saka is 1 goal away from getting himself a 90 rated on this card and a Roll Plus. Winning one more game, if they do it 1-0, he's going to get the 2 playstyles and also Roll Plus. That is 2 playstyles, not 2 playstyle pluses, just before we get to there and they're like, oh, well, where is the second playstyle plus? It's 2 like white playstyles, not the, what is it, the yellow or the gold one, basically. So that is going to be the upgrade for him. 766. Now, with Saka specifically, and it could just be my playstyle, it really could. He has got the finesse shot, and pretty much every year, he's always got a battle with Salah. Salah, he had Messi at one point, he has all of the icons as well, and many, many of the right wings that pop their head up. And I don't know what it is with him. I don't know if it's how they've produced his body type, how they've produced his stats. He's just never a card I really fancy using. And that's the biggest problem with him. As much as the SBC, decent value, he's pretty much guaranteed an upgrade. I don't feel like Arsenal can go 4 games without scoring at least 1 goal. They don't even have to win. They just have to score 1 goal. After the performance on Saturday, there's just no chance that they don't. So I feel like he's almost a shoo-in there. But then when we look at the right wings, there's still so many options that I would just pick ahead of him. And it may not even be his fault. It's just something about his card in general just never sits very well in my opinion. And again, there's probably loads of other people that absolutely love him. But when you've got the likes of Bale in the high end, obviously we're talking here, Jarzinho, then Hansen. Hansen's unbelievable. Then you've got the likes of Phil Foden, kind of more of a middle player in my opinion. I'd probably have Saka over Foden in terms of right wing. But in Cam, obviously Foden's going to be more better in that position. Then you've got the likes of Salah. He has got a little bit better than this version of Salah, but we know Salah's going to get another one at some point very, very soon. We obviously have the inform Hansen. We have a bit of Messi, who most definitely is not one to kind of go away from. But again, more of a Cam inside the middle without having that massive pace injection as of yet. Chiesa, still a fantastic card. Diane's kind of dropped off a little bit more this year. Dembele, unbelievable. The quick step plus, the 5-5, the dribbling is always going to be better than Saka. I think Saka as a right forward, somebody on that inside forward going for the finesses, could be the option to go with, and I think it's going to be a better one for him. But then we look at the Rafinha, we look then a bit further down, another Salah. I know a 3-4 is not going to be as impressive as Saka's 4-4. Yamal will more than likely get another upgrade at some point. So in terms of him, he's got a lot of competition, and I just don't see that spark in him. Now, that being said, I think that goes to more my preference on him, and that's just how I play. I like the quick step, the rapid down the wings. I don't really have too many players that have that finesse shot, that power shot to try and cut in. I have strikers for that, and that's how I personally play. More of the cut back, cross it, get the ball up the wing and kind of push the defense back that little bit more and then pass across into the edge of the 18. So I think with Saka, the value that you're going to get is still fantastic, but I would suggest most definitely having a look at an inform or even a goal to try him out and seeing, is the body type right, is the dribbling right, because I do find that can be slightly the issue with him. Pajor, easy one for me. I think she is an absolute wonderful gem of an SBC. She is again coming in relatively cheap at 140. The only issue they had with her is the 3-star, 4-star. Adding that 3-star weak foot, it's just got to be that slightly bit better. We knew at the start of the game she was absolutely fantastic as a very kind of basic, lovely and cheap striker with the rapid plus, gets around the defense, and that's now fantastic to have as a memento of the start of the game. Now everybody's got bigger defenses, faster defenses, and even playstyle plus evolution defenses. She's going to struggle a little bit more. She still holds her own with that rapid plus, can play on that left wing as well, has a little bit of rolls plus on there as well, which is always nice. But I do think the 3-star weak foot has definitely dropped her down, from my opinion, from a must complete down into a decent value. I think if they did sort that out with a 4-4, and then if they do get the upgrade, which if you've ever watched Liga F, Rolfo last year was the perfect example that more than likely she will get that upgrade, no doubt. it is a shame that they didn't get a weak foot upgrade with her. Casemiro, another one that I didn't see really coming out anytime soon. I was kind of expecting him a little bit later. Coming in at 240, massive pace increase, which was absolutely needed. His gold card was unusable even on day one. 38 pace was not enough. They've given him a 42 pace boost, which is absolutely fantastic. They've obviously taken a little bit off. No, they didn't take anything off. I read it as a plus. They've obviously given him a massive boost, in fact, into that defending physical. Then obviously having a bit of passing, bit of dribbling. They've given him a lovely upgrade of a +6 on his composure and 20 on the agility and balance. It's a fantastic middle card, long ball plus, which can has its its modes that you use him. He's personally a card that I am going to do, but that is personally building a Man U team anyway. And also then the evolutions on top, because realistically, you've got to think with Casemiro, how many cards is he truly getting? Now, in terms of a must complete, if you are looking for a CDM, I think he's one of the better ones you can go for. But I wouldn't necessarily say he's must. I just think he's a cracking upgrade that it needs at least a look in my opinion. Whereas Barella, now a fantastic card. They could have obviously given him that slight bit better of like an incisive to add him into that centre mid, because he's such a very well-rounded card. Having the incisive would have been fantastic. The pinged pass is still enough, because obviously we're going from relentless into that. I think that's a good enough upgrade in my opinion. The chance to get to the 90 as well, which is always brilliant. He's a 4-4, very balanced on the stats, having a nice double upgrade on absolutely everything. If you're building the Serie A team, he is the centerpiece of that team that will do really, really well. And I think if Inter do have the chance of kind of really pushing forward here, I think he's absolutely a must complete. He's a great centre mid, very balanced, very easy to get along with, and he just works in the midfield. Plus, the straight Italian links with the Serie A is going to do wonders for other leagues as well, if you do want to bring them in. So that is going to be everybody for today. A lot of new SBCs, and hopefully we do find some more big SBCs. Let me know which ones you're completing. Peace.